Good evening, I'm John Carter and welcome to Poland Daily. The former Prime Minister of Poland, Donald Tusk, seemed to have serious problems with his memory as he testified in court in Warsaw today. He took the stand in the trial of Tomasz Arabski, the former head of the Prime Minister's office, who is accused of gross neglect of duty in connection with the fatal presidential flight to Smolensk in 2010. The Smolensk Air Disaster claimed the lives of 96 people, including the President of Poland, Lech Kaczynski.
The former Prime Minister answered, "I don't remember," to many of the questions. The exact same words and strategy was used by Donald Tusk's son when he testified about his involvement in the Ponzi scheme Amber Gold. Logistical and technical issues are not on the desk of the Prime Minister. A Prime Minister handles completely different issues regarding state visits. That's the case not just for me, but for every Prime Minister. His testimony did not answer many questions. Donald Tusk maintains that he had nothing to do with and knew nothing about the president's flight to Smolensk. Stefan Hambura, the attorney representing family members of some of the people on board, believed that Donald Tusk is not telling the truth. A Prime Minister is politically and organizationally responsible for the actions of his chancellery, his office and his government, but today the testimony showed that the Prime Minister didn't even read the protocols. The Speaker of the Senate, Stanisław Karczewski, knows that the strategy of claiming not to remember any details has been used extensively in recent political court cases.
Donald Tusk
acted like many politicians from his Civic Platform party have previously. Just like the ones interrogated about the Amber Gold Ponzi scheme, he claims to not know or remember anything and that he isn't responsible for anything either. Columnist Maciej Chudkiewicz believes that the former Prime Minister's strategy of not remembering anything will help him to evade more detailed questions about the organization of the president's flight to Smolensk. Donald Tusk is shielding himself by claiming to not remember any details. He obviously cannot claim to have done things that he didn't do, since that would amount to telling flagrant lies under oath. Instead, he says that he didn't know, doesn't remember, or that he was busy doing other things. It's much harder to prove that such statements aren't true. So he is using this strategy to portray himself as a man who was busy playing football, jogging around, meeting with people and giving out high fives, but didn't really do anything apart from that. The testimony lasted 5 hours. Donald Tusk left the court just after 3 p.m. He ignored the crowd of journalists waiting for him in front of the courthouse.
Today, one of Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki's 5 most important programmes, Accessibility Plus 2018-2025, was inaugurated. Minister of Family, Labour and Social Policy, Elżbieta Rafalska, attended the conference held at Warsaw Copernicus Science Centre.
The head of the Polish government spoke at the conference, inaugurating the Accessibility Plus programme. Morawiecki underlined that Poland is one of very few countries in the European Union lacking uniform standards of public space to assist those with disabilities. We will do anything we can, both through legislative changes as well as interdepartmental cooperation between the government and the municipalities. Furthermore, we want to help by engaging the appropriate European Union programs, including those non-governmental organizations are affiliated with. The aim of the program is to improve the quality of life as well as providing the possibility of independent living for every citizen, regardless of their age or health. It just so happens that I have people with severe disabilities in my immediate family, so I understand the problem. The problem is often called the prison of the 4th floor, represents harsh inconveniences for less able citizens when facilities, such as lifts or ramps, are not provided. That is why we, as a part of the program, are considering implementing a new position of assistance for disabled. Such a person would try to help people with various disabilities and be present to provide freedom for the disabled. Accessibility Plus 2018-2025 has a budget of 23 billion zlotys. It will be financed by European Union as well as Polish state funds.
Since last Wednesday, parents of disabled children have been protesting in Parliament. The protesters are demanding 500 zlotys per month in rehabilitation benefits for disabled children when they turn adult. They also want welfare to match the lowest social insurance benefit of 800 zloty. The ruling Law and Justice Party have promised they will not leave the disabled out to dry.
My promise is a promise of the whole government. We will certainly do everything in our power to make the lives of the disabled easier and as normal and decent as possible. MPs of the so-called total opposition have accused politicians from the Law and Justice of a lack of empathy for the protesting parents.
Widać, że rządowi PiS-u brak empatii do rozwiązania tego problemu.
They don't have empathy. Politicians of the Law and Justice claim there is enough money, while the ones that need it the most get little support.
Mówią, na wszystko są pieniądze.
The Law and Justice Senator Jan Mariackowski stated that the government will present a solid initiative for supporting the disabled and their carers in the next few days. The government is working on the quickest way to resolve the issue. We should expect a breakthrough in the next few days. Parents of the disabled are not yet ready to fully trust the government's promises.
The Prime Minister doesn't understand our problem. Rafalska does, but she pretends not to. That's why we count on the President.
Liczymy bardzo na pana prezydenta.
In England, there are assistants who take the disabled to swimming pools for car rides. The system works there, and what we ask for is merely a drop in the ocean. The protesters threaten to occupy Parliament until the Law and Justice MPs put a new act concerning the disabled to a vote. If Parliament does not act quickly, the protest will not end until the beginning of May.
The speakers of national parliaments of European Union member states and President of the European Parliament, Antonio Tajani, are in Tallinn. They will discuss the future of the European Union and European security. The conference is held annually, and this year Poland is represented by Speaker of the Sejm Marek Kuchciński and the Marshal of the Senate Stanisław Karczewski.
The future of the European Union was discussed at the Tallinn conference. Security and safety were the main themes. Discussions also included monetary issues, trade and technological development of digital communication. Brexit also heavily discussed. Tomorrow we'll talk about safety in Europe. I am not surprised that this matter is the most important because traditionally the Baltic states are very concerned about safety, and we joined them in that respect. All the bilateral talks I had with the heads of parliaments of other European countries were focused on safety. The solutions of problems arising for the European Union from future development are in reach of this conference, in reach of the European Union institutions for several reasons. Our common set of values and common interest in positive cooperation being the main ones.
Interesów wspólnego wszystkich państw członkowskich.
Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I'm John Carter, and Poland Daily returns same time tomorrow night. Good night.